für möglichst große und heterogene Daten. Das Material zusammen. Wie kann ich die Struktur einer Nation, welche Aufgaben müssen Sie, welche Stichworte verbinden Sie? Wie findet der Leser Zugang zum Text? Gibt es interessante Zufälle? Rokfor vereinfacht die Zusammenarbeit mit mehreren Autoren, welche Texte entwickeln, was die Zusammenführung bearbeiten.
Es geht also um den Prozess. Programmierer, Gestalter, Redaktion arbeiten zusammen. Redaktion liegt so vor. Der Gestalter definiert die Regeln des Designs. Der Inhalt und die Gestaltung stehen in einem wechselseitigen Verhältnis. Der Gestalter versucht Muster und Strukturen zu erkennen, die er abstrahiert und die vom Programmierer mit Code umgesetzt werden. Die Definition von Regeln und Gestalter eine konzeptionelle Arbeit, sagt der Entwickler. Wie bei Solid etwa, wo das Kunstwerk nur als Regelkonzept existiert.
Für den Computer verständliche Handlungsanweisungen bestehen vor allem aus vielen Was wäre wenn Situationen. Solche Momente versuche ich als Gestalter zu nutzen und nehme bereit Bewusstsein in diesen Kontrollverlusten kann. Alternativ oder ergänzend dazu können bewährte Rastersysteme oder Informationsregeln, die beispielsweise der Golden Schritt in die Gestaltung der Layout der einfließen. So kann die Gestaltung jeder Regeldefinition nicht von Resivates eingehen. Sie ist aktiv und nicht in der Lehre.
Der Programmierer führt den praktischen, gestalterischen Regeln zusammen. Und dazu entwickelt er eine Ausgabe. Das Problem besteht dabei in der Tatsache, dass sich viele gestalterische Entscheidungen nicht durch einen Algorithmus abbilden lassen. Algorithmen beruhen auf logischen Entscheidungen, definieren Anfangs- und Endzuständen und Abwurfbedingungen, die dann erfüllt wird, wenn das Ziel erreicht ist.
Rokfor ist dieses Projekt nicht. Es war einfach genug, dass es keine Besorgung so gibt. Es geht in erster Linie immer um sich. So wird geschaut. Aber das System auch funktioniert, ist schon sehr befriedigend. So verschiedene Formate. Etwa so Sachen.
Zum Schluss dieser Sendung zeigen wir Ihnen zwei komplett unterschiedliche Fallbeispiele. Als erstes
That's right. Welcome everybody to our little lecture here in Milan. Thanks a lot for inviting us, especially Silvia, and also very especially Soledoni. She actually linked us to Silvia and brought us together here. We are sharing a house at the moment in Zurich, and this is why I personally know her since a year. Guess if you follow the film, it already get a little bit clearer what's the topic of this lecture. It's more of a process. It's we are trying to more giving a little inside view in our workshop rather than showing results. Rokfor is a very recent project. We founded that in 2009, and we really don't have to show many results. That's just the truth. But we want to try to get an inside view into the way we work and in our personal interests. Me as a graphic designer, Urs Hofer as a programmer. Silvia also mentioned there is a person, Gina Bucher. She's more responsible for content management, for editing, and for this editing process. She's at the moment looking to the son of Urs Hofer at the moment in Zurich.
Yes. To our son. Yeah, not only my son. Rokfor is also family business, you know. He's the godfather, Gina, the mother, and I, the father, basically. And we have Rokfor is one, as Silvia mentioned it, Rokfor is one kid and the other one is the real one. After the short introduction, the video introduction, we continue like this, that I tell just a couple of some minutes where I'm coming from, what is my background, and then Rafi does the same. Then we just dive into the Rokfor project, and in the end we talk about the things we did. As Rafi said, we try to keep it really on the stuff we already did, and to maybe if there's a discussion afterwards, we can do like more talk on an abstract or theoretical level, then in a way of, for example, how the whole automized process has an impact on the work of the graphic designer, for example, which is a question of concern for I learned computer programming when I was very young. Then I studied film science, and this has actually nothing to do with Rokfor, but it's very, for me, it's kind of important because of, I always had to try to, what I studied wasn't exactly that what I do, so I'm forced to basically connect different worlds together, and I'm, as a programmer, standing now in the middle between, you know, design or art or literature. One project I did was called Scenic Panner. It's an image database which was linked to live musicians, and they were basically able to play through improvised music, create panoramas which are always scrolling from the left to the right side, like this. So basically the musicians never knew exactly what kind of images they are going to trigger when they play music. They just knew topics which were assigned to their instruments. For example, the drummer knew that he has kind of he plays nature or industry, and this kind of mutual relation between music and image was like the main purpose of the installation. In another project which is called Automatic Cinema, I also try to generating design as with Rokfor, but I try to generate basically cinematic narrations, and therefore we developed a special system of tagging media data. We can assign on a matrix, we can assign media data to keywords, and with setting links or arrows in between, we can do some kind of logic connections, so that the computer, when basically that the computer can generate narrations out of these logic structures, and it's easy to work with the media database and create with different styles, like various movies again and again. Those are like two things I'm working, and shows a little bit the background of my work.
Well, then a few things about my own person. I was against Urs's career, somehow classic trained as a graphic designer, and I look back on a 30 years period already after I left school. And this is all about something about the topic for this lecture, having this kind of period like 10, 12, 13 years. And then if you look back, you see maybe some red points, and if you look back on your work, you also can find slightly some links, and at the end that turns out for me as a major interest. You see here a kind of romantic machine. That was the result of our diploma work. We rented a room and we did exhibitions as graphic designers. It's our diploma work over the period of 3 months, at the time 1999. And we were organizing this exhibition. We were doing the exhibition, somehow curating the exhibitions, and of course we did the graphic design, the advertising things for these little events. And we decided at the end of this period to having not like a retrospective exhibition with all the exhibitions. We decided to make a machine which is practically just featuring the past 3 months, all the works, but on this kind of romantic level, we described that machine as a graphic design automat, which can stand in public. We put it next to a ticket automat from a public transport system to allow, in a way, everybody to produce graphic design. And this is for me very much the beginning from my personal interest, which is now at the time continuing with Rokfor. Second work is also based or has its origins at the transport project. That was the Lego font. That was one of dozens of fonts we did at the time. We did fonts, as you may also do, just for one purpose or just for one poster, just for having a unique font. And one font we did was Lego font. And on request of Cornel Lintin and his font label Line 2, we developed the Lego font further into 2 cuts, having 2 cuts of the font, like AM and PM, we so call. And this is just different shadowed alphabets. And the Lego font was also developed as a little application where you can play Lego on an online application. That was the first moment where Urs and me working together with Jürg Levy, the brother of Urs, and he actually made possible to having this little application. This little application is a part of the fact that you can play Lego. Interesting because you can also export the data as Illustrator files on your desktop. So it's more like just playing and saving an image. At the time, it's still in the year 2000. So you can extract graphic design and you can further develop it on your desktop. This was probably one goal of this work, and it was a kind of further development compared to this graphic design automat, because it was for us the first running application. Out of that project came Vectorama, initially sold only as a vector database, just because of this time. It's now 2001. A graphic designer started extensively using vector drawings, and we simply thought, I have drawn these trees, or I have drawn this house, or I have drawn whatever I have drawn with vector shapes. Why I do need to draw all this stuff, if everybody draws, we should make a platform and share these vector illustrations. Years after we established Vectorama, there was Neubauwelt. I don't know if you remember that, the German graphic designers, they published a book full of vectors, quite comparable with Letraset books in the early 70s, 80s. And they also distributed to this book a CD-ROM, which you had all these vectors already prepared for use on your desktop. So this is why we decided not having only a database, not having like this kind of box where all the vectors in it. We decided to make a little game out of it, and that was the starting point of Vectorama, the image you see on the right, which actually was a multi-user playground where up to 10 people can play on that so-called playground and can drag and drop different vector illustrations on the desktop. This is so far on a visual way. The last state we worked together, Urs, me, and Jörg. And this is also a kind of graphical application which somehow generates graphic design. Over the years, they were stored in a database over 500,000 different drawings from numerous users. This is a little movie just to add to finish that project. It's like one day action on the platform.
Well, the last project we talk about before we go into our current thing is Encyclopedizer. It's basically our first collaboration, and it's therefore interesting because it ended up in a generated book, the whole project, but it wasn't actually the plan. It was also a couple of years ago when Google was really interesting and search engines were really interesting on the internet. We tried to program a machine. Now this sounds really all a little bit out of age somehow, but we tried to program a machine where you can type in whatever term you want and the machine defines this term by generating a kind of grammatically correct definition. This was a collaboration with some literature guys, some friends. We were working together. In the end, this website collected about a couple of thousand definitions, and we thought, hey, now we have this database. It would be great to bring this database back into a printed form to close basically this circle, and also to bring it back in this kind of classical look, of an encyclopedia. And the funny thing was, the book was a book on demand with all the negative sides of a book on demand. That means not really beautiful printed and not really beautifully produced, but it was still awarded as one of the most beautiful Swiss books that year, which was quite surprising. Showed us a little bit that maybe there's some potential in sometimes, trying experiments with generated algorithms and layouts.
Because it was also a little bit uncertain question what was first, the book or the internet, and it's 10 years ago, and we started actually one-to-one internet content into a book, and that was also a sort of new at the time. This is more or less. I mean, it was the beginning of our collaboration, and it just was an ongoing row of the idea how to make graphic design, just do graphic design by hand, or the former project as I showed, Vectorama, Lego Font Creator, was not even doing graphic design by hand or not by hand. It's more like let graphic design somehow appear, or let other people do graphic design. And this is maybe a little bit the overall topic of the lecture as well. And what's the role of the graphic designer? Is he more like a guy who is developing tools for others, as Lego Font Creator or Vectorama, or is he a guy who is defining rules to let appear graphic design instead of doing it by hand or by its own?